Top 5 Most Amazing Ancient Ruins. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where we talk about the most fun and interesting locations on the planet. In today's video we'll be talking about the top 5 most amazing ancient ruins of the world. So smash that like button, subscribe and click on the bell notification icon so that you don't miss an upload. Let's get into it. 1. Ayutthaya Kingdom. The Ayutthaya Kingdom was a Siamese kingdom that existed in Southeast Asia from 1351 to 1767, centered around the city of Ayutthaya, in Siam, or present-day Thailand. The Ayutthaya Kingdom is considered to be the precursor of modern Thailand, and its developments are an important part of the history of Thailand. The Ayutthaya Kingdom emerged from the mandala of city-states on the lower Chao Phraya Valley in the late 14th century during the decline of the Khmer Empire. After a century of territorial expansions, Ayutthaya became centralized and rose as a major power in Southeast Asia. Ayutthaya faced invasions from the Toungoo dynasty of Burma, starting centuries-old rivalry between the two regional powers, resulting in the first fall of Ayutthaya in 1569. The origin of Ayutthaya had been subjected to scholarly debates. Traditional accounts hold that King Uthong, the ruler of a city called Uthong, moved his court due to the threat of an epidemic. The city of Uthong was not the modern Uthong district, Suphanburi province, which was a major Dvaravati site but had already been abandoned before the foundation of Ayutthaya. The city of Ayutthaya itself, however, might have existed before the supposed foundation in 1351. Some temples in Ayutthaya have been known to exist before 1351. Recent archaeological works reveal pre-existing barrays superimposed on by subsequent structures and support the Lavaux theory. The barrays later became Bung Praram in the place called Nong Sano, in which King Uthong had laid his foundation. In 1767, the Burmese attacked Siam, destroyed and burned the capital, leaving only ruins. The war that ended with the expulsion of the Burmese, the city was no longer subject to restoration as a capital. The capital was first transferred to Thonburi, and later to Bangkok. Almost all of the Buddha statues were beheaded by the Burmese. By this, they tried to break the spirit of the Thais, since Buddhists believe that the human soul is in the head. 2. Mesa Verde. The Mesa Verde region is a portion of the Colorado Plateau in the United States that extends through parts of New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. It is bounded by the San Juan River to the south, the Piedra River to the east, the San Juan Mountains to the north and the Colorado River to the west. The Crow Canyon Archaeological Center near Cortez, Colorado, in the heart of the Mesa Verde, has been conducting research in the region since 1982. Although the Mesa Verde National Park contains the largest and best-known ruins of the Pueblo peoples, there are many other community centers in the central Mesa Verde region dating to the period between 1050 and 1290 AD. Around AD 750, people of the Mesa Verde region began conglomerating into densely populated villages. Pit houses were a common feature during this period. However, archaeologists believe the people of the region spent most of their time in structures built above ground that included living spaces and storage spaces. These structures formed rows of rooms in straight or crescent-shaped formations. During this period, the Pueblo people began constructing larger public buildings, leading archaeologists to believe that the inception of religious, economic and political institutions in this society came around this time. Descendants of Mesa Verde ancestral Pueblo people spread out far and wide, and include the Hopi in Arizona and the T19 Rio Grande Pueblos of New Mexico, Eos, Bacuris, Sandia, Isleta, San Juan, Santa Clara, San Ildefonso, Nombre, Tesuque, Hemas, Cochiti, Pojoc, Santo Domingo, San Felipe, Santa Ana, Zia, Laguna, Acima, and Zuni. The most famous Mesa Verde dwelling is the Cliff Palace. It dates back more than 700 years and was likely once painted with bright colors. It is constructed from sandstone, wooden beams and mortar. The people of Mesa Verde were farmers who grew beans, corn and squash. They supplemented their diet by gathering other edible plants and hunting deer, squirrels, rabbits and other animals. Mesa Verde was likely deserted by 1300. No one is quite sure why. Some researchers blame crop failures. 3. Sigiriya. Sigiriya or Sinhagiri is an ancient rock fortress located in the northern Marthala district near the town of Dambulla in the central province, Sri Lanka. It is a site of historical and archaeological significance that is dominated by a massive column of rock approximately 180 meters, 590 feet, high. According to the ancient Sri Lankan chronicle the Kulavamsa, this area was a large forest, then after storms and landslides it became a hill and was selected by King Koshyap, 477–495 AD, for his new capital. In 1831 Major Jonathan Forbes of the 78th Highlanders of the British Army, while returning on horseback from a trip to Polonnaruwa, encountered the bush-covered summit of Sigiriya. Sigiriya came to the attention of antiquarians and, later, archaeologists. Archaeological work at Sigiriya began on a small scale in the 1890s. H.C.P. Bell was the first archaeologist to conduct extensive research on Sigiriya. The king was born to his father's non-royal mistress. Therefore, Kasyapa had no right to the throne. Consequently, he rebelled against his father King Dachasena, who was imprisoned and eventually killed. The body was then entombed within a wall and Kasyapa took the throne, despite his brother being the rightful heir. The king built a gateway on a plateau located halfway up the rock. A staircase emerges from a lion's mouth and is guarded on either side by a pair of monumental lion's paws. For this reason, Sigiriya has gained the nickname of Lion Rock. The lion carved into the rock served to both welcome visitors and warn enemies. Following King Kasyapa's death, it was once again used as a monastery until it was abandoned in the 14th century. 4. Pompeii. Pompeii was an ancient city located in what is now the Comune of Pompeii near Naples in the Campania region of Italy. Pompeii, along with Herculaneum and many villas in the surrounding area, was buried under 4 to 6 meters of volcanic ash and pumice in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in AD 79. Largely preserved under the ash, the excavated city offered a unique snapshot of Roman life, frozen at the moment it was buried, although much of the detailed evidence of the everyday life of its inhabitants was lost in the excavations. It was a wealthy town, with a population of ca. 11,000 in AD 79, enjoying many fine public buildings and luxurious private houses with lavish decorations, furnishings and works of art which were the main attractions for the early excavators. Organic remains, including wooden objects and human bodies, were entombed in the ash. Pompeii was built about 40 meters, 130 feet, above sea level on the coastal lava plateau created by earlier eruptions of Mount Vesuvius, 8 kilometers, 5.0 miles, distant. The plateau fell steeply to the south and partly the west and into the sea. 3 sheets of sediment from large landslides lie on top of the lava, perhaps triggered by extended rainfall. The city bordered the coastline, though today it is 700 meters, 2,300 feet, away. The mouth of the navigable Sarno River, adjacent to the city, was protected by lagoons and served early Greek and Phoenician sailors as a safe haven and port, which was developed further by the Romans. Pliny the Younger, a Roman writer who provided an eyewitness account of the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, noted the date as August 24th. However, based on the food and clothing preserved underneath the ash, researchers have suggested that this date may not be entirely accurate. This is often debated. And not modern-day graffiti, either. Far from being the result of disrespectful visitors, the graffiti that covers Pompeii is from before the eruption. It gives visitors and historians an incredible insight into Roman society. Examples include private messages, public announcements and election notices. You'll be able to spot all of this graffiti on one of our Pompeii tours from Rome as you imagine yourself living day-to-day life in an ancient city. Advances in technology mean that in recent years, Italian scientists and researchers have been able to do CT scans of the bodies buried at Pompeii. These have revealed many things, one of the most interesting being that the citizens of Pompeii had perfect teeth. While this is linked to their great diet, it is also likely to be related to the high fluorine content in the area because of the volcano. 5. Tulum. Tulum, Spanish pronunciation, is the site of a pre-Columbian Mayan walled city which served as a major port for Coba, in the Mexican state of Quintana Roo. The ruins are situated on 12-meter-tall, 39 feet, cliffs along the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula on the Caribbean Sea. Tulum was one of the last cities built and inhabited by the Maya. It was at its height between the 13th and 15th centuries and managed to survive about 70 years after the Spanish began occupying Mexico. The site might have been called Zama, meaning City of Dawn, because it faces the sunrise. Tulum stands on a bluff facing east toward the Caribbean Sea. Tulum is also the Yucatan Mayan word for fence, wall or trench. The walls surrounding the site allowed the Tulum fort to be defended against invasions. Tulum had access to both land and sea trade routes, making it an important trade hub, especially for obsidian. Tulum has architecture typical of Maya sites on the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula. This architecture is recognized by a step running around the base of the building which sits on a low substructure. Doorways of this type are usually narrow with columns used as support if the building is big enough. Tulum was a school of astronomy attended by Aztec nobles, Zapotecs and other cultures at the time of its splendor. The city of Tulum was a major gateway for connecting the Mayan Peninsula with other people from Honduras and the Gulf of Mexico. The coastal reef acts as a barrier where ships would sink if not accessed through a straight line right in front of the lighthouse. That will be it for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment of what you would like us to talk about in future videos. Thanks.